Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Joe Emilio Show. I am your host, Joe Emilio. And as always, I have a guest on the show. But before I bring him out, ladies and gentlemen, if you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing. I have very interesting guests on this show weekly, almost every evening at 9 p.m. So just keep an eye out on my channel, subscribe, hit that bell notification so you are up to date with what's happening. And I upload original stuff pretty much all the time. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So with all that being said, let me introduce to you my guest for this evening. He is an award-winning singer. He's traveled the world singing. He's worked with so many artists in South Africa. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to bring to you the one, the only, Mr. Brendan October. Sorry, Brendan. Say that again. We lost you there for a moment.
Did you lose me? Am I back?
Yeah, you're back now.
Okay, cool. Like I said, the lip syncs out here, so I can imagine there's a bit of a lag happening.
Yeah.
But hey, it's good to see you. Good to see you.
Good to see you, my man. Thanks again so much for being willing to come onto the show. I'm really honored, and yeah, it's going to be a fun conversation.
Pleasure, absolutely. I've been following you, and I think you've been following me too, and we kind of on the same wavelength with a lot of things that's happening in South Africa around the world.
Mm,
So tonight's going to be a good chat. I hope that the viewers have a cup of coffee and a refill standing by because we're gonna dive deep, aren't we?
awesome. Yes, fantastic. And speaking of the viewers, we have Adam Octobers saying lit, which I'm assuming is a family member.
That's my son, bro. That's my son. They
Oh,
like
okay.
they love it when I you gotta push and support them too. So every now and again he says, "Dad, just give me a mention." So that's my one son. That's the oldest. The other one I'm sure will say something too. So yeah, they love this stuff.
All right, fantastic.
Kids and social media,
Awesome. All right. Well, Adam, thank you so much for tuning in and joining us tonight. Look, very quickly, I think it would be unfair not to mention your illustrious career. And I think as we were chatting a bit off air, I mentioned to you I was reading to you your bio. I don't know why, but yeah, I was telling you off air like how awesome it was that you've traveled New Orleans, France, London, Dubai,
yeah,
Egypt.
yeah, yeah.
I really want to know because I used to live in Egypt for 9 years. What did you think of Egypt, and where did you perform in Egypt?
So I've always loved history and architecture.
Yeah,
So of course, going being in Egypt and seeing the pyramids, that's like it. That's that you tick that off your bucket list. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So that was one of the highlights of my career and also of my life. Because once you've seen that, very few ththings measure up.
yeah.
So yeah, it was a little corporate function, and
Okay.
we kind of had the pyramids in the background. It was a little thing, private affair, but yeah, like I say, it was one of those unforgettable moments.
Awesome, awesome. Now it's Egypt. I've often said like to people like if you get the chance to go and visit the history side of things, the museum, the
Yeah,
pyramids, the temples, go. It really is. I mean, it really makes you think like, wow, many 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 years ago, people did this. It's surreal.
exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, all right. I had to ask. Like I said, I lived in Egypt for a while, and then
So
um,
you lived there. Wow, how did you wind up there? You're not Egyptian. You just moved there, right? You were born in.
well, my parents are. Sorry about that. That was an accidental
It's
click
fine.
on. I'm a terrible GJ. Um,
It's okay.
I was born in Texas, and my parents are Egyptian, but my parents are also a mix of a lot of things.
Okay, all
There's
right.
like French, Greek, Canadian, American, Egyptian,
Bro, you're
Lebanese,
South African. You're a
South
South African.
African. Yeah, yeah. That's actually part of my. That's actually my opening joke. Is like I'm trying to say that I'm colored, basically, because mixed race. But
Mixture.
yeah.
Uh,
But yeah. So my parents, my mom's also South African. So
okay.
basically, my parents moved to. My dad got a job opportunity in Egypt when I was turning 9, and then we moved to Egypt.
Okay.
Then my parents got a divorce, and then I moved here with my mom because she has family here.
All right.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
18, turning 18 when I moved here. Yeah, so yeah,
Oh wow. So that's a while ago.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Very like been here for like
like
14, 15
2 years.
years.
So you're only 20 now. So.
Thank you. The beard's looking very nice for a 20-year-old. Beard's growing out very nicely.
That's the Greek side of your family. Come on.
No.
You know.
All right. So I wanted to also, someone asked me to mention their name to you and see if you remember them.
Yeah.
I'll be there. Hold on. So apparently you knew this person as Hanny, Hannie.
What? H-A-N. Oh wow. Okay. Is that person online now?
I don't know.
Say it again.
Hanny. Hanny.
I'm trying to remember.
Says Henny's
Oh
my
Lord, no.
nickname.
Oh gosh.
Do you know them
Was it a while that?
as Riddell?
Can I have like the third word?
Riddell? Do you know
The,
Riddell?
no.
Uh,
No.
Joanna Riddell,
Sure.
violinist Henny. Um,
Gosh.
let's
What?
see. Also known as a
Are those
hired.
all the clues that she get?
Well, okay. So I cannot pronounce this word, but I'm going to try my best. Skouspel. Skouspel?
Wow. Yeah,
Skouspel.
you're right. You're right. It's Ghostball. Jeez, that is a while ago.
Yeah, she says she did that with you. She was a hired gun at that event.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what? If I see her face, because and we were talking about this sort of backstage earlier. And I've worked with a ton of musicians,
There she is.
especially in the orchestra. And you.
She is watching.
Trying to like read it. So yeah. If I see the face,
Yeah.
because I've got a lot of wonderful memories of Scotsville,
Okay.
and for there are a few highlights in my career, and one of them was performing with orchestras, and I've been very fortunate to have done that. I played with every orchestra in South Africa, a few overseas, and that's huge. You get to experience a different side of music.
Mm.
And also, we had a few different takes on like the pop stuff that we mostly do, and to have that done in an orchestral setting,
Mm.
that's completely something else.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna look you up because gosh, Ghostball. What year? Because there's quite a
Yeah.
few. There are quite a few that we did.
Yeah,
But
Riddell, let us
definitely, I'm
know what
gonna
year.
hook.
Yeah, let us know what
Yeah.
year.
Send a pic. Send the song, the repertoire list. See how this go back.
So Bebop Williams is saying Brendan, how's it? The man with
Hey,
with
Bebop.
the incredible voice.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Cool. So those of you that are watching, please hit the like button and share the link. Let people know that we're chatting, and we're going to get into some interesting things in pretty much now. So yeah, Brendan, like you said earlier, we've been watching each other, and I think we bumped into each other on Twitter basically, and
Yeah.
you've been retweeting some interesting things about what's going on at the moment, and you know me, I've been tweeting some interesting things as well. I think, I saw you and I'm like, you're an artist, you're a musician, a performer, entertainer in South Africa, as am I. And I've yet to have a good conversation with someone who's in the entertainment business, specifically for as long as you've been as well. And I want to know, like, lockdown, let's have an honest discussion here. Let's start with this one. That relief fund that apparently the government had made for entertainers. Have you received...
What relief fund?
Okay, there we go. Okay.
Look, I think that whole relief fund thing is PR.
Yeah.
It's PR.
Mm.
I don't know of anyone who's got anything. I mean, we're talking about a relief fund for lockdown and COVID. What about just royalties? If we can't even get the very basics right,
Mm.
I mean, that's where you make continuous money throughout your career. Songs get played, replayed, flighted on TV or whatever. How do you make money if you don't get those streams of income, which is
Mm.
supposed to be something that gets taken care of?
Yeah.
That's what Samro and all of those cats do.
Yeah. Yeah.
However, if the money is not being sent down from the SABC and all of the other stations, then who gets paid?
Mm.
Most certainly not the artists.
Mm.
And the lockdown it's been bad for everyone, but more so because if you're a musician and there's no place to perform, then you don't make money. And now let's some people have tried doing the online thing. It's hard.
So hard.
If you're a comedian, you need something to feed off on. If you're a singer, Lord, you need someone to at least applaud or boo or something. You can't just sing into your screen.
Mm.
So, because the one thing people don't get, and I see the comments, and I understand where people are coming from. They assume if you're on TV, oh no, you've got money. Come on, you're rolling in the dough. What are you complaining about?
No.
But they don't get is that that's the entertainment industry is possibly the place where very few artists make a lot of money.
Mm. Mm.
Okay, very few artists make real money and consistent money. The rest have to do every single gig they can
Yeah.
just to keep the ball up in the air. Now South Africa is also not quite like Europe
Mm.
or even China, where you can release an album and boom, you can sell these days streams, not so many albums that get sold. But if you want to have a long career, it's becoming harder and harder to do that.
Yeah.
I've been fortunate. Gosh, it's been 19 years now, that I've been still at it.
Mm.
And it's not easy.
Mm.
So a while ago, I've always had this entrepreneurial streak. I've always had a side hustle before there was a name for it.
Yeah.
And I knew then already that in the down times you need to have something.
Yeah.
You can't make money and have that ride through 2-3 months until you have another big gig. It doesn't work like that. And unfortunately, that's what a lot of artists did. And the other side is not everyone has something other outside of music.
Yeah.
If that was your gig and that was your, say for instance, a violinist, that's your gig. There's no side hustle. Perhaps you could become a music teacher. That's that. But does it feed your soul though?
Mm.
I think one of what we've lost throughout lockdown, and I sit every day, and I've gone cold turkey because I just can't write.
Mm.
It's as if the stream of inspiration is well as dried up. And if you do try to write something, then you naturally gravitate to what's going on around you,
Yeah.
and that's not what you want to keep writing about. Not being able to make music with other people. That's just killing creativity.
Mm.
It kind of how do I say this? It's depressing, man.
Yeah.
It is really depressing to not be able to tap into that.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
hear you. Even with me, being a comedian, like you said, I can't. I've seen comedians do it, even well-known comedians. I'm talking like Kurt Skonrad, Nick Rabinowitz, even Barry Hilton. I've seen them go live on their Facebook or their YouTube channels and try and tell
Yeah.
jokes, and it's just not the same. It's not the same when you don't hear that laughter
Not the
and you don't
same.
hear that response. You just singing is different. Like I know with singers you also need that feedback, but you can still get away with it.
Yeah.
You can still sing. You're good. You've done this song many times. It's a song. It's not like when a comedian's trying a new joke or something, and they don't
Yeah.
know if it's working or if it's landing, and then it's kind of like, okay, let's move on. Um, and yeah, so and again, when it comes to inspiration, You're right. I've tried to write some new jokes whenever I get the chance, and it's difficult because you can, like you said, you
Yeah,
gravitate to what is going on at the moment, but at the same
yeah,
time, that when you perform, people come to a performance to escape reality. So you don't want to necessarily talk
precisely.
about the reality
Yeah,
during the performance.
yeah,
So yeah, no, it has been, man. You touched a nerve, so to speak, when depression. I think a lot of people are struggling with that at the moment, especially now with another
yeah,
harsh-ish lockdown. Businesses being closed, businesses being basically choked to death, and many people losing their livelihood. It flabbergasts me that you know before lockdown, entertainers were used to entertain. Fundraiser, a birthday party. We used to be that escape. And at a time
yeah.
now when people need it more than ever, we seem to be the forgotten industry, as I call it. I know,
Uh-huh.
I know that tourism as well is suffering, if not just as bad. Don't get me wrong. Um,
Yeah.
I know tourism and the hospitality industry is also suffering, if not just as bad. I mean, how many venues that you used to work at or go to perform have closed? Because I know quite a few.
Yeah, recently it's been Ticket Pro Dome, that We Buy Cars are now going to trade out of. So that's another one we've lost, the Athol Fugard Theatre.
Yep, the Fugard
And I
Theater.
think I think as we go along, we'll find more and more. I mean, even restaurants that you could perform at, or bars and pubs, or any of those things. You if you if you take away booze, I mean
Mm-hmm.
that's the you go somewhere to unwind and chill with your mates, and there happens to be a muso playing. It's all part and parcel of that escape, as you said. And we don't have any escape, because even if you were at work, your house would be your escape, or going to work would be an escape from home. Now you're just at home, so you're not escaping from anything. Now that is not good for anyone's psyche. You have to rub shoulders with people. You got to get out there, and you have to breathe some fresh air. Now with masks, we don't get to do that.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even get to see people's expressions.
Yeah.
I mean, if someone just stares at you blankly, and they happen to have the kind of mouths where they don't reach up to their eyes, you don't know if they're smiling, if they're telling you to f off,
Yeah.
behind that mask. You don't know, and we kind of need that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that because we're in a unique situation compared to what's happening elsewhere. Because we had such harsh lockdown so early on. If I look at what's happening in the UK, I'm like, guys, chill. We've been in lockdown for nearly 2 years.
Yeah.
They're still complaining about they've got booze. They can still get out. They have, what I'm saying. They never had to do without smokes or anything.
Mm.
And it's funny to look at it that way, but it's a travesty of humankind. I don't think that I mean, we're not. We're social creatures.
Yeah.
We have to be with each other.
Yeah.
And what's happening now? Very few people are dealing with it. People pretend, because that's kind of what we think we have to do. Someone asks you how you are. Oh, I'm brilliant. I'm brilliant. Grumble, grumble goes your stomach because you haven't eaten for 2 days.
Yeah.
We. It's as if there's this unspoken rule of not telling the truth. You know, if I ask you how you are, you're always wonderful. Things are always great. The sun is always shining.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not realistic. And funny thing is that when we do ask for help, and we saw that last week when people needed help, South Africans all rallied together. It was a beautiful thing to see. It's what we need more of,
Mm.
but we shouldn't have to get to the point where Rome is burning before we say, hey, I can help. It's how do we get to? And someone asked that question: why does it have to get to that point
Mm.
before we help each other? I don't know. I try to answer it, and then it becomes a debate, and then we go that way, and then we agree to disagree, and then we said, okay, cool, have a great day, cheers.
I think there's too many chefs in the kitchen to answer that question, in my personal opinion. I also think that the way that South Africa's culture and demographics are, um, there's a lot of misinformation for a lot of people. People believe different things depending on who they support politically, ideologically.
Yeah.
For example, the less informed will believe that the ANC, if they're not in power, then they will lose their SASA grants, which is not true. But that's how ANC also stays in power, is
Hmm.
because they tell those people
Yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah.
and that's why we can't be united, is because the powers that be have managed to create so much divide with us that we're left fighting about whether you should or shouldn't take the vaccine, whether you should wear a mask or not wear a mask, whether this is a white or black problem, whether this is a white or colored problem, whether this is a black or colored problem, or an Indian problem, or is this a ethnic tribal problem? We're left fighting these kinds of mundane issues while the cadres and elites of South Africa continue to rob us blind all the time. It hasn't stopped. And we fail to,
Yeah.
for some reason, put our, I don't want to say differences, because these differences aren't really there. I think the riots in KZN prove that, we're able to band together for what is right.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I don't know. It's almost like that. I always bring it back to the rugby. When rugby's around and we're winning, where everybody's like, "Yeah, I love being South African." Wah! The next day, screw you, man. I'm out of here. It's a weird. The patrioticness of South Africa is a very finicky, weird, and complicated thing. And I do feel that South Africans take a lot of abuse, if I'm honest. And I'm wondering when. I think the question isn't like if we can band together, but when are we gonna draw a line in the sand and say enough is enough?
I think we're at that point.
I hope so.
I think we are what South Africa wants most. Well, what any country wants is a leader that actually gives a shit.
Yeah,
We want someone that is happy to take our taxes because that's they take it whether you want to give it or not,
yeah.
and use it for things that benefit the people. It's to us it seems really simple. Yeah, go the taxes, fix the pothole, keep the lights burn, keep us safe, give us security. That's all. That's what we get for paying taxes. But what we also need is a leader that has a plan for the country. Otherwise, we're just drifting along, and infrastructure stays the way it is.
Yeah.
Do we have a leader like that? And some may disagree. That's fine. I don't have a problem with it.
I was gonna ask
You
you
know,
that
I
question.
give I have opinions, and I'm not afraid to give them. I don't think we do. I don't think we have now. Now, this is my perception. Of course, people who are closer to Cyril Ramaphosa know a bit more about the inner workings of government and the presidency and the ANC party. So this is my sort of limited view, but it's a view based on what we should be getting,
Mm.
and what we're getting is it's as if let's use this for example. He is If he were a dad, he'd need to be a lot more present. I feel as though I'm a kid and there are 10 in the family and I don't get any attention at all.
Mm.
But neither does that one and neither does that one, and no one gets attention. And what do you do when you want to get attention from your dad? You break something. You play cricket outside and you're going to show him how hard you can hit the ball. Poof, there goes the glass window.
Mm.
Uh, were the riots something like that? Maybe,
Mm.
possibly. We all know there's something more. Something drove that. I don't believe that people would burn down a mall because they're hungry.
No.
Who does that? You don't wake up one morning and say, "Hmm, box of matches. Let me siphon out some petrol somewhere. Let's go burn down the
Ons
mall."
gaan nou braai.
Yeah, it's gaan no braai. I don't think so. And if you are, I mean, the coppers found a guy who had buried some, I don't know, I don't know the amount, maybe 10, 20, but they were gearboxes that he'd buried in his yard. He wasn't that hungry, was he?
No.
Neither were the people who helped themselves to fridges and stoves and whatever. I mean, we all saw it, so we don't have to go into that kind of detail, but they weren't hungry. Now, I did also see people who needed things. There was a bloke that had, I think he had about 10 packs of nappies with him. Now I'm imagining he's got a kid at home. He may not. He may just want to sell it. I don't know. But it looked like a necessary, if I could ever get away with a word like that, a necessary theft. There's
Mm.
sometimes people steal a loaf of bread. They were hungry. They were desperate. Boop, they get 15 years. It's a weird thing. But would it have happened if it wasn't pushed and orchestrated and instigated? I don't think so. I don't think so. Many people are hungry. You know it. Does a beggar who's standing in front of a shop and he can see the chicken on that rotisserie going around, does he smash that window, grab the chicken, and run off? He doesn't. He just carries on begging because we're not wired to take what's not ours. I mean, the majority of us anyway.
No, I do agree with that notion. However, you make an interesting point. The talking about Cyril as which the mainstream media also does. Talking about Cyril as the father of the nation, which I'm going to be honest, grinds the holy crap out of me because I do I do not I do
I love
not
it. I love
view
it. I just love it. I thought I'd throw some salt and pepper and mustard in there.
it really annoys me so much with this family meeting narrative that they're, because here's the thing, and this is just common sense, I think. Your government shouldn't be your parent. It just
Nope.
shouldn't. Your government, if you are someone who doesn't have a phone, and I get that it's a huge problem in South Africa. No, it is a
It's
huge
yeah,
problem.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's a huge problem that there's a lot of families that don't have, the fathers abandoned them. I get that, but there are so many layers to that issue. There are some, and that those are the issues that need to be addressed and solved. We need to get
Yeah.
solutions to those problems. But using Cyril as the solution to that problem, saying, "Oh, well, you don't have a father in your family. Well, here's a father for you, a figurative father." That's not a solution. And
No.
but it is what the ANC has managed to do, and that's where your metaphor, your analysis there, kind of makes sense. They've been narrating this idea that Cyril is the father of this nation, and the
Yeah.
kids, so to speak, got angry and trashed the room, basically, if
Yeah.
you could put it that way. It's interesting thought. I'm still in between what actually happened the past few weeks. I've been doing a lot of research on it and getting different perspectives from different people, those that agree with insurrection, those that don't,
Mm.
trying to like sift through the information and see what is really going on. The one thing that I know for sure though is that I think what happened in the past 2 weeks is all about elections, upcoming elections, and especially because we've been seeing this new, and this is going to fall into what you were saying earlier, um, push for basic income grants, which is a ludicrous idea because one, South Africa doesn't have the money, and two, it's feeding into that narrative of government is your parent and we're going to provide for
Yeah.
you, make you dependent on the government, which is not a good place for any country to be on. You can have welfare, yes. There are many powerful countries in the world that have successful welfare, but the idea isn't to keep people on welfare. It's to help them at a
No.
time when they need it momentarily until they can get employment again and eventually get off the welfare so that they can provide for their families. And again, the biggest problem in South Africa, in my opinion, and some institutions would agree with me, is it's not racism, it's not inequality or anything like that. It's unemployment. People want jobs. They want to provide for their families. And
Hmm.
again, this is why I think you and I are very vocal when it comes to lockdown as entertainers. We've been strangled. There's no, like you said, we have to have like a side hustle or something to keep us going. And there are entertainers out there. This is all they know. Standing on a stage performing. That's literally all they know, and they're damn good at it.
Yep.
They're damn good at it, but they can't graphic design. They can't video edit. They can't. You have a social media slash marketing agency, PR company. They don't know that side of things. And that's what also worries me is what about the people that don't have that fallback plan, and
Mm.
more people then become depressed, reliant on government,
Yep.
and other other terrible things happen.
Well, what would have happened? You would have abused alcohol more. We don't have that. So what do you abuse then? But it's one thing to say that people don't have a side hustle, but if you have access to data and a cell phone, as most people do, then there are ways. There are free courses. If you want to get into the social media game, there are free courses online, hundreds of them. In fact, there are a few sites that offer courses across the board. They've got marketing, business, you name it, and they're all free. Of course, you have to pay to get the certification, but the course itself is free. So getting access to that, there's no excuse to not upskill or to go into a new stream, new direction, or to educate yourself. A lot of areas, shopping malls have free Wi-Fi. If you don't have Wi-Fi, go and sit there for an hour every day, or just stand if you're not allowed to sit at the restaurants or whatever. But I don't think that people should fall into the trap of making excuses about why they can't do something.
Absolutely.
Now, if you want to go the route of welfare, and that's a dangerous route. In fact, to be reliant on state or government is always a bad place to be,
Yeah.
because what happens then, there's always the expectation that your happiness or your inner workings will come from outside of you. So there's no need then to reinvent yourself, to improve or upskill, to do any of those things that you would naturally do,
Yeah.
because we do want to improve. Well, most of us anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, even criminals want to improve. They want to become a better pickpocket or thief or burglar. I don't know. Oaks get better the more they do it, and they kind of share these things in prison. That's where you can master your craft. Um, but the way to do it, and a lot of people don't know where to find these things out. As much as Google has opened the world to us, people are still like, okay, but how do I do it?
Yeah.
Who do I speak to? Where do I go? There's still those questions, because not everyone has that inquisitiveness that you need to just go click on a button and see where it leads.
Yeah.
Most people don't do that. I think it boils down to our school systems, and
Yeah.
it's been deliberately crafted that way
Yeah.
since the beginning of time, where whatever you need, you have to raise your hand and it'll be given to you.
Mm.
So we still we become adults like, Mr. President, I'm here, I'm hungry, can you please? I need. That's where it comes from. And I've someone had asked on Twitter, why are there people who haven't gone the route of everyone else, who haven't just run in there and said, vaccinate me now? Some people are, I think, wired differently. I don't
Mm.
even think it's how you're raised type of thing, because if you have siblings, you'll know that Your sister's completely different to you. Your brother's different to your sister. It's like everyone. You're your own unique individual person growing in the sameness of that family.
Yeah.
And I think some people are just. It takes a certain kind of rebellion because you just don't want to conform. You're just stubborn as heck. Of course, I'm describing myself now. You absolutely hate authority.
Mm.
You just hate authority. And it doesn't matter how many times they lock you up in a cupboard or whatever it is that people call corporal punishment these days. There's just something within you
Mm.
that there's a fire that burns that, and those are the people that stand in front of a tank. You know what I mean? They just, I don't care what you do. And I think Nelson was a guy like that. Okay, want to send me to prison? Well, fine, send me. I don't have a problem. Make sure I have some books, some fresh tea, and I'll be okay. Got a lovely view of the ocean, so that's great. Um, I think that people need to. I think some people need to grow up. To be quite blunt, we got we the the idea that there is a perfect country and democracy is good for everyone and everyone there's enough food at the table for everyone. No, no country works like that.
Mm.
There is no country that works like that. The president will always choose to be apart from the people. That's just how these things are wired.
Mm.
Because if he is a man of the people, well then you don't really need him because you can just vote for someone else that you prefer.
Mm.
So there's this deliberate isolation. I mean, we see him when he's doing his jogs at Seapoint Beach occasionally, or going to buy a new iPad, that kind of thing. Other than that, Cyril is not really. He's distant. We don't see him. We see him via the media, and even then, the media don't get to see him. They've got no
Mm.
access to him. When was the last time he did a press conference and actually answered some questions? Most of
A month ago.
what we see is from a press release that then gets regurgitated in the papers or in a tweet or whatever, but it's never his opinion.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that I really appreciated, and some people absolutely hate Donald Trump. Some hate him. Some say he's the devil and he's this and he's that. Some people say he's a savior and he's amazing because that's how opinions differ. The
Mm.
one thing that you got to give Donald Trump, he answered questions.
Mm.
Even if it was CNN who sat there or ABC or whoever, even if it was a question that they would ask to try and embarrass him or trap him, he would answer it.
Yep.
Towards the end, he did say, CNN, I'm not going to answer, that's fake news, blah, because he knew where they were going with it. But he would always answer those questions. And what we need is a president who is willing to expose himself. We're not expecting him to be superhuman. No one is. But we need someone that can say, okay, you've got some questions. Let me see if I can answer them. And if I can't answer them, let's find a way to work out so that we take away most of the problems that you have.
Mm.
That's kind of that's the least that we expect.
Mm.
Someone that gives a shit.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think a lot of people are going to be saying Brendan for president after this conversation.
No. You see, my biggest problem is, oh man, I have to deal with Julius and Nkosazana, and then I mean, I I love I love leadership and learning about those sorts of things,
Yes.
and that's where I've kind of been gravitating towards. But as for the presidency, I mean, look, I'll never say never. Who knows what happens in 30 years' time? Because average age 70. So you never know. I may retire and then become the president. No one never knows how these things go.
Yeah.
But it's a really tricky place to be in. I mean, you also can't have any skeletons in the closet. So that's another one. But then you just pay someone to wipe all of that info from the net, as they do.
Well, I think most of the ministers in ANC right now have a lot of skeletons in their closet. I think that's a necessity if you're going to be in the ANC. So I think that has to be in the resume. How many skeletons do you have? 10. Not good enough. We need 50. Um, So,
Yeah, no, you just don't make it. Go back and do some more. Oh,
um, like, look, you touched another important, you touched on a few things there, and I agree. I couldn't agree with you more. And like, um, you mentioned Trump, and I'm not going to ask you like what you thought of the guy or anything like that, but it is a good. Let me put it this way: I am pleasantly surprised and humbled that you're able to talk about Trump like that. Because in today's society, for whatever reason, the moment you so much as say that word, that name, in any context, in any way,
oh,
the woke and radical left immediately start to research you and try and find anything remotely
see, I was a member
racist.
of the Ku Klux Klan.
Yeah,
Or,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, which segues into what I wanted to chat to you about is cancel culture. As an entertainer, I know I'm gonna take a guess here, and then you can correct me if I'm wrong. Let's do this, okay? So,
Yeah.
as a fellow entertainer, cancel culture pisses me the hell off. I hate it. I was a victim to it, and I think, yeah, I was a victim to it, and I think the notion of it is the modern day version of stoning someone in public. It grinds me, and there's so much to it. Like, people think like, oh yeah, but it's right because the person's this and that. I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
agree with it especially when you cost someone their job. You now think that you're such a high and mighty
Mm.
social justice warrior that just because, for example, I don't agree with you now saying Trump wasn't that bad, basically, and he's a good president because he took questions, I now go to your place of employment and say, oh, did you hear what Brendan said on the Joe Emilio show? He said that Trump he must be a racist and a homophobe and this and that. How dare you associate with Brendan? Blah 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 blah. And then the companies are no better because
Yeah.
they kind of like, oh, okay, well, we'll sort Brendan out, and then they also now kind of succumb to the cancel culture thing, and it
Uh-huh.
it annoys the
Uh-huh.
hell out of me. And I think that we have lost as a society the ability to take each other's opinions, debate it a little bit, and you know what? Just because I don't agree with you, Brendan, on some aspects of life, doesn't mean that you are a bad person. I can learn to live with the differences and be like, Brendan, you
Yeah.
are actually a much more complex human being than an opinion on Trump or an opinion on vanilla or chocolate. You know, that's not
Precisely.
gonna break that's not a deal breaker for me. And I don't know. That's my opinion on the entire thing. How do you feel about it?
Um, it's weird. Cancel culture is a weird thing, and I think it's largely within a certain age group. Teenagers don't give a toss. 20 somethings don't give a toss because they're just happy to be out of school and they're just enjoying the life over there. 40-year-olds, they don't give a rat's ass. They're busy raising their families, trying to keep a roof over their heads. I think it's that in between group.
Mm.
You know, it's
So like the 25
it's
to
where
35, somewhere
let's
there.
say 35 around there. It's absolute freedom. You're making some really good money now, so you're largely self-reliant, and the world is your oyster.
Mm.
And you really think that it is. Now, if we want to fix the world, then by all means we have to pick up that starfish and toss it back in. Okay, that's how we pick up one and we save one. But what's happening is it's being perverted.
Mm.
So whereas before you would say, "Geez, that looks a baddie. Did you see what he did?" It's as if there is a sort of, I don't know where it comes from, but vengeance for vengeance sake. So oh, he made a little comment. Let's go and find him. He works here. He lives there. That's his registration number. That his mother's over there. Let's put it all online. Why would we be that vindictive? What does that achieve? It's a dangerously cruel thing to do,
Mm.
and we've seen it. We've seen it with a number of people. Um, Katlego, and when I saw that video, oh, of course, the first thing I thought was, bro, why did you get yourself recorded like that?
Mm.
Okay, because once it's there, it's there's no way you can get out of it.
Yeah.
However, that was a personal thing.
Yeah, it
Okay,
was.
his was it his wife, his girlfriend? She was obviously broken up. Now it's hard for me to say what would I do in a similar situation. Would I also want to be? I'd be so angry because
Mm.
that's what happened. A lover's rage. You want everyone to know. You want that person to feel the embarrassment that you felt and that hurt. But it's let's see down the road the repercussions of that action. That person loses their job. Okay. That person loses, for instance, if it someone like Katlego who was a light on TV. He's a well loved guy. He's congenial, and I know him, so I know what type of person he is. Do we cancel someone because things weren't right at home? Do we cancel someone because they are a Trump fan? What is the criteria there for canceling someone, or is it just I don't like him this week. Let's get rid of him.
That's pretty much
Let's
how it
let's
is.
give some other. Let's. I like him. I think he should. Let's get rid of him. And you call all 15 of your buddies, and they just retweet these things and make comments, and then let's attack their place of work and embarrass them and humiliate them, and 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 then it's all quiet, because what you'll notice about that whole whoever they pick on, once that person's out, then it's as if the cancel culture agents, well, that sounds quite cool. It's as if they recede back into the woodwork,
Mm.
and you never hear from them again until the next person that they wish to pick on.
Exactly. Yeah.
But now it leads me to my next point. If you are someone that's chosen to be a public figure, now there are rules of engagement there. There are certain things that you cannot say.
Mm.
You can't say them because you're not an ordinary citizen anymore. You give up that right. You
Mm.
give up that right to be yourself, if I can say that. So you can't just one morning wake up and blurt stuff and then think nothing's going to happen. People are looking for you to make a mistake. They want you to drunk dial someone and drunk tweet because he may delete it, but I screenshotted that,
Yeah.
so I've got him now. And the one thing that I with age experience, let me put it that way, so I've been around for some time now, is that there are people out there who would like nothing better than to see you suffer.
Yeah.
They really want to get, for whatever reason, jealousy. I don't know. People, we feel about people the way we feel about people, and there are people who actually pray for your demise. They really want to see you suffer.
Yeah. The haters.
It's we get them. You absolutely always get haters, and that's why I say you're playing by different rules.
Mm.
So you have to keep your cards more close to your chest.
Mm.
You can't go to a pub and get sloshed.
No. No.
I mean,
Absolutely.
they were like, everyone's got a camera out there. Like, ooh, he's a drunkard. Did you see that? Ooh, let's check. He's getting into his car. Oh, he's driving drunk. Oh, he's cancelled.
Yeah.
So those things you can't do anymore. You need to, as a public figure, you've got to grow up really quickly,
Mm.
and you always have to. Things are sunny there in
Mm.
Celebville.
Mm.
Things are always sunny.
Mm.
You can never ever say that you only had toast to eat and no butter. And, thou shalt not say that, because thou shalt be cancelled. Now that I've known a few, and I'm not going to mention their names, people who out of desperation had to do an interview, get a cover on a magazine, etc., to get some money in the bank, as you know, because that's what desperation, it forces you to do the things you wouldn't ordinarily do.
Yeah.
But when you do that, as soon as you admit to uh, not failure, what's the opposite of success? A
Failure.
nice word. I mean, we're like always failing forward. I mean,
Or
you know, if you
mistakes, I guess, for lack of a
you
better
know,
word.
yeah, unsuccess. I don't know. It's a
Yeah.
sloppy word, but if you admit to oh, let's say a bump in the road,
Mm.
because we all hit a bump in the road. We all have some adversity in life. As soon as you admit to those kinds of things, then people are like, has been clearly that person's not hacking it.
Mm.
But we need to be more forgiving of each other.
Yeah.
And people don't ever think that you arrive on stage and you don't really want to be there that night. Man, you're not feeling well.
Mm.
You know, you had a disagreement with this one or whatever, that you worry about whether you can pay your bond that month. You've got stuff in your head, but nobody gives a shit because, hey man, can you just sing?
Yeah.
I bought a ticket, so just shut up and sing. I don't care about your heartache, and just sing. It becomes a very lonely place.
Mm.
Being in the public eye is a very lonely place because nobody knows what you do to arrive at that point. Nobody knows how many times, take you, Joe, for instance, how many times you got to test that material, man, see whether it works, whether it falls flat. Okay, that doesn't work, but oh shit, it worked there yesterday.
Yeah.
Different audience. You know, it's not that the material doesn't work, it's that whoever's listening to it, depending on who it is, it works or doesn't work.
Yeah.
So when you're on that stage, you're on a tightrope, and that tightrope is, if I fall flat here, oh God, they've all got their cameras out tonight, and then you take your step, and out you go.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much the same with me. People say, do you ever get nervous? No, I don't, because what I do is I just step out. That's what I do. I warm up, make sure the blood's flowing, and then boof. Before I even have a chance to entertain any kind of angels or devils on the shoulder saying, "Hey man, you're going to be sharp tonight," I just go out. And once I'm out there, it's my job to control the outcome.
Yeah.
And I've had a few gigs. They didn't always all go the way I would have wanted them to. But if you only have sunshine, man, you never enjoy the rain, and sometimes the rain's cool. So we don't need to have cancel culture. I think there's a different way to deal with people's mistakes, because everyone makes them. It's just that those who are not in the public eye, we just don't get to hear about it.
Mm. No, absolutely. And I fully appreciate, as a public figure, you got to be more careful with what you do and what you say. There are some public figures who actually don't give a damn. Like, there's plenty of them out there. Dennis Leary. We've got, who else? Gareth Cliff. We've got, so many people who, celebrities who, Ricky Gervais is a very good one. Jimmy Carr. These
Yeah.
guys, they don't care what they say. They're just being honest and being them, and that's the kind of public figure I hope to be one day. Is Yeah, of course.
Could you do that in South Africa?
That's
I
the
don't think
question.
so.
That's the question. I think you can to some degree. Look, Gareth Cliff does it very well, I think, and there's a lot, like,
Gareth,
he's got a lot of people
but
who
Gareth
you either
has
like him or you don't like him. Like, but he's true to himself.
he's
You gotta
carved out
respect
a
him.
niche, and that's the trick. Who his Garrett supporters, and yes, a lot of times I disagree with him. A lot of times I'm like, yes, you're right on the money. But he's also reached a point where, and I think it's because he was on radio, he was on
Mm,
TV, he had TV show. You get to a point where you realize that to be there, you're gonna get all of that.
mm,
And in being in comedy too, you will know that you get hecklers.
yeah,
And if you can't deal with the hecklers, then you better find a different job.
yeah, Yeah,
because
absolutely. Yeah,
I mean, sometimes the heckling is where you can rag those oaks for 10 minutes.
exactly. Yeah.
And that's like the best part of the show is those hecklers there. And Jimmy Carr does it too.
Yeah.
In fact, he even stages heckling. I mean, you know that
Yeah.
he stages the heckling and he shows now because people love it.
Yeah.
Um, I
Well,
think in South Africa, if you had to, like swearing, for instance, South African audiences, while they like American comedians or British comedians and those oaks can drop F bombs like it's no one's business, in a South African setting, they expect us to behave differently,
this is true.
which is why you.
This is true. Yeah, no, this is you're very right. No,
Oh,
you're right.
absolutely.
Yeah,
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 yeah. They do not. South Africans don't swear. No, no, no. He's a good Christian boy, or he's a good Muslim boy. You don't speak like that. You also don't speak about your elders. There are different rules that apply depending on which culture or where the setting is.
yeah.
So you can't just be Joe. You have to be Joe. Now Joe's at a corporate function. Now
Yes.
he has to be a different kind of Joe.
Yeah.
Joe's at a wedding is a different kind of Joe. You know what I'm saying? Whereas Ricky Gervais is like, I'm Ricky, and of course they have the benefit of the money they get paid. So, if I'm in a Hollywood blockbuster, boom, I get 5 million. Okay, I don't have to work for the next 2 years. By the time that 2 years later, people will have forgotten about what I said.
Mm.
It's old news, so I can just come out and say some more crap. But
Yeah, I
we
think
don't have that luxury.
well, yeah. There's definitely truth in that. I think put it this way: I think that if you're going to be a Ricky Gervais in South Africa, it's going to be a very long and lonely road for a while until you build that fan base
Yeah,
and support that you can be like anybody that hires you. There will be a corporate that will hire you. There always is, there always will be. There are going to be less opportunities maybe in South Africa, but there will be one, and it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be a very long and lonely road for you. Having said that, though, I just want to be, as a performer and entertainer, true to myself. I've actually tried to cut back on the swearing even on this show.
yeah.
Because I've noticed, I've gotten comments on YouTube saying like you swear too much. You're right, absolutely. Even on YouTube, guys, even on YouTube. So I
Come on,
know.
Gary V swear. Gary V is like the swearing king.
I know.
When people take their kids to see Gary, it's unbelievable.
And I think like even when I was doing stand up, in the northern suburbs of Cape Town, which is a very conservative area in Cape Town.
Yeah.
Well, its majority is conservative. People didn't like it when you swore. They didn't. And I also had to turn back the swearing in that regard. So I 100% agree with you. When I say true to myself, I mean being able to say I don't like the ANC. Being able to say, screw Cyril Ramaphosa, and that doesn't cost me a gig. But if it
Yeah.
does cost me a gig, then I don't want to work with that brand or company, because I don't want that brand or company to come to me and say, "Cool, we're gonna pay you, even if it's R1,000,000. We're gonna pay you to promote ANC, and it's gonna be the best gig you're gonna ever get." And I'm gonna say no, because that's not
Ooh.
true to me. And I would do that. And I know friends who have done that. And to me, I know I just can't sell my soul like that. I just can't. I can't do it. I know I can't. I know people will probably be like, "Oh yeah, right, Joe. If someone really came to you with R1,000,000, you'd probably do it." I can tell you now, no. I might think about it. I won't lie about that. I would think about it. I'd be like, give me 3 days to think about it.
What if you were hungry, man, and you haven't eaten for like 2 days? Now, there are two ways to think about it. And some
Now
people
you're adding
would say,
different variables to it, man.
some would say, Joe, you're being an idiot. Do the gig and and you can still have your principles. And the way that they would sell it to you is, it's just a gig, all right? It would be the same. Let's say
Well,
you're not a DA
okay.
support.
Okay.
Let's say you're an action man, right? DA offers you a gig. What would you turn that down to?
Well, I guess to if I think
It's
about it, wait. If I think about it, let's look at Dave Chappelle.
yeah.
Dave Chappelle has a very popular bit where he says that he's done ads for Coke and Pepsi and he doesn't give a damn.
Mm.
He just says all he knows is Pepsi paid more, so it tastes better.
And you know what? It does get to that point. If the money, and look, R1 million is there'd be very few artists who would turn that down. In fact, I don't think anyone would turn it down because the chances of you ever doing such a gig, that's a once in a lifetime type of gig. That
Yeah.
that that scenario there.
But the ANC would never hire me. I
Sometimes
mean, I've got too much. I've got. Oh man, I hate them so much. Like my whole YouTube channel is pretty much dedicated to hating them. So I don't think I'd ever get an
I don't I
opportunity
don't
like
think
that.
that I don't think they care who dislikes them. I don't think that at this stage they don't give a rat's ass if you say, oh, you're corrupt. They'll just carry on doing it. But someone knowing that you're a thief does not stop you from being a thief. You know what I'm saying? They just carry on regardless. And I can see it in the tweets, and they heckle a whole bunch of these politicians, but they don't give a rat's ass. They just carry on, and the next thing you know, they oh, doctor, what are you involved in what? I didn't think you'd be that type of guy. But anyone who has access to what they have access to, it
Mm.
is very difficult to say no to the kind of money that they're talking about at those levels. It's not, here's a 5,000 rand bribe. We don't even talk about thousands. In fact, in the ANC, we don't talk about millions anymore. Now we're in the billions league now. This is the millions. That's small fry. We give that to the children to play with.
Okay,
And
well,
they talk about billions there.
maybe that's where my morality might be at sale if we're talking billions. And I'll be like, shit, there's a
Oh,
lot
so
of
you
everybody has a
do
price.
have a number.
Everybody has a
Yeah.
price. Everybody has a price. I'm not
Everybody-
going to shy away from that. No, everybody has a price. Like that's definitely a no-brainer. Anybody who says they don't have a price is lying.
Yeah.
But everybody has a price, and if I was approached above, I don't know, billion, I don't know. I'd have to see the offer on the table. But if it was in the billions, then I'd be like, well, crap.
Oh, you're such a liar.
I will
You'd be
sing.
like,
I will sing and dance and tell you stupid jokes for an hour, and then I'll leave the country. I don't have to face it.
oh, you do that for $1 million. Boom, an hour's worth. Bang.
I don't know.
45 minutes. 45 minutes set.
For a million, 45 minutes. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't
Come
know.
on.
I would honestly think about it, and my wife would probably slap me silly. Because even she would be like, "You are going to dance, my boy, for a million for 45 minutes."
Okay, look, you see, if you had to get home and say to your wife, "I'm not going to do that gig," she'll tell you, "I will drive you to that gig," and if you don't do that gig, because let's face it, the man that comes home with $1 million after like 45 minutes of work, you're going to be the king. You're going to be. Imagine what you buy. Imagine how happy you would be. Come on.
I don't
There
know,
are
man.
benefits to not having
Here's the
principles.
thing, though. This is why I would think about a million, and this is why it would actually be easy for me to say no to a million. Is because a million
Yeah?
actually in today's South Africa doesn't buy you much. It really doesn't.
No.
It really doesn't. Let's be honest about that. That's why I said a billion maybe, but a million I
Yeah.
could turn it down because I could be like, like that. I don't think it's enough to sell my soul. Not that I want to sell my soul,
Mm,
but I'm just saying, like, if I'm having an honest conversation, that's honestly what I would think. Yeah, you can maybe
yeah.
buy a few cars and stuff, but you can't even, dude. I am seeing apartments now that start off at a million, and they're small. They're like
I don't know who's
60.
buying them.
Oh, flip, I don't know. But like they're like 60 square meters or whatever. Like it's tiny, tiny
Yeah.
apartments or 35 square meters for a million. And that's like without the lawyer's fee and all that other stuff that comes into it. So I mean, a million really. If I'm going to be offered something of great amount, I want to be able to say I want to buy at least a 3 bedroom house and a car, cash with it. Then that will get me to think, and then I'll be like,
Not don't buy the car though, because don't buy cars cash. But also now you also like where we're headed with the lovely expropriation bill that we are trying to.
and you see.
Owning a house is not going to be a good thing either.
But
You
again, now
don't
you're
want to
strengthening
own
my
anything.
argument for saying no, because in the end of the day, even if you give me $1 billion and I buy
Take
three
take
houses, it's
take
not.
the money. Look, you think about what that money can do for you. You're not going to buy a house because no, that wouldn't make sense. You're not going to buy a car because that wouldn't make sense either. But you'd make your wife very happy. But even if you didn't want that money, she could spend it wisely. I guarantee you.
I'd probably
I
make a
mean, imagine how
few
many
investments
nails and
overseas.
she could do stuff
I'd probably make a few
with a
investments
million
overseas.
rand. With
Well, not
a
no.
million
I'm talking.
rand's not
I'm
gonna.
no, no, no. I'm talking like a billion, a billion. Yes, maybe.
Uh,
You know.
you'd have to be a politician. Okay, so what do we do with? I believe that good things come from adversity. I always believe that. I think that when you have hit rock bottom, as many of us are, we literally we can't go any further.
Mm,
Okay, no, let's not say that. I think we still have roofs over our head and so on, but in terms of a career and an industry, we can't go lower than that. The industry, as it stands, is dead. Okay,
yeah.
and unless some miracle comes along and builds us a venue where we can actually perform at, and people have jobs, so they actually have money to buy a ticket to see us, uh, then we need to come up with a solution.
Mm,
And I think if we're going to wait for someone else to provide that solution, it's not going to come.
mm,
As an entertainment industry that includes musicians and dancers and actors and the whole lot.
mm.
What are we going to do for ourselves? We don't even have a union, man. So
Yes.
so when things go wrong, we look at each other and then we start selling our instruments because that's about the only thing you can do is just keep the wolves at bay. What do we do? What do we do to within the group? And I think we've got some brilliant minds within the music industry. And I know some musos have side hustles. They're lawyers and doctors, and they've got a whole bunch of things. And I know there are a few people who are trying to get musicians to be seen as bona fide.
Mm,
A lot of people view musicians and singers. Oh, it's not a real job, man.
mm,
And when you're going to grow up, yeah, a lot of parents will say to their kids, "When are you going to grow up and get a real job?
yeah.
So you can get some stability. I need you off my couch, and I need you to be gone. I've got plans with that couch."
Yeah.
And we've gone from people being independent to moving back in with their folks. It's bizarre, but it's where we are. How do we revive it? And let's look at it like this too. So now things as they were will never go back to that. I think if we ever go back to old normal, which I seriously doubt, people have been their worlds have been shaken.
Yeah.
There are many people who do not want to leave home without a mask. People are afraid. They're genuinely afraid, and we all know people. And every time I see my mom, she's like, "Oh, so have you heard? So and so's died." Literally every time I see her, and then I think to myself, there's something really serious out there.
Mm,
Okay, so COVID is killing people. It definitely is. So how do we then get people to come and see us because they don't really want to have anyone sitting next to them? We're getting to that stage where people are afraid of other people.
mm,
So is there a way we then have to take it to the people? And if it means doing a more polished live stream
mm.
where we actually build collectively, I mean everyone just throws in whatever money they have and we build a set. that we rotate. So theater, we can have theater productions in there. We can have music. We can have comedy, but we do it in a way that everyone feels comfortable. So you don't feel like, oh, I'm singing into a
Yeah.
camera. It feels ridiculous because you're not getting anything back from there.
Yeah.
But if you built up and properly and you advertise it proper, so it's as if people are tuning in. And I know I'm speaking it out there, giving my ideas away, but maybe there's someone out there that's like, holy shit, that's a great idea. I've got $1 million. Let me put it. I'm just saying it. I always believe you got to share your ideas. That if it becomes a like a weekly thing. It's a
Mm.
channel that people would actually tune into, like a Nuit for Nuit on a Friday evening. Ooh, I'm going to tune in. Arno Carstens is on. For the next hour, I'm going to be watching Arno. And Arno knows his fans are on there watching him, and boom, he's doing a show. He's getting feedback because we got the live stuff. We make it proper. So you can actually have people chatting back. So it's
Mm.
proper live. So if people want to sit at home and cheer, you get all of that coming
Mm.
right back at you, even though they're not in the room,
Yeah.
but their presence will be there. And you literally have people sending you love. I think that would be a way to keep the industry alive, and also to use the technology that we have, because we have to use it.
Yeah.
It's there. We're doing interviews. You're sitting at your house. I'm sitting at mine, and who'd ever have thought, that we would be so far apart, and we're having a chat, and it works.
Mm.
And we've already done it. Last year was the litmus test.
Mm.
So the sound is there. We have great data. The Wi-Fi works, so we could actually do it. It doesn't need to cost a fortune, but I think if we all invested in it and it became ours, and eventually sponsors pulled in, we could make money out of it.
Yeah, I don't think it's impossible. I mean, I've seen, well, if you look at any or most of the TV shows, live TV shows, for example, WWE, because that's the first thing that popped up to my mind. They have put screens in seats, um, and people tune in from their homes, and you can
Oh,
hear the cheers and all that stuff. So it's not exactly the same, but it's still there because the
yeah.
performers can feed off of the energy and hear the crowd and stuff like that. There's the same in other TV shows as well, where they put screens of people that are sitting at their houses tuning in to the show at a live studio audience recording. So it's not impossible. It's been done in America.
Yeah. You just have to
Um,
take the $1 million. So,
yeah, well, maybe I don't know. If ANC does get in contact, we'll chat. Yeah, so I think that's possible, and I think it is worth. I don't know, like you said, anybody that's listening in who has the funds, please get in contact with me or Brendan. Let's make
I think
something
you know
happen.
what I think we must do it. If we wait for someone to contact us, it's the kind of thing that once you are proactive about it,
Mm,
people want to be with people who are going somewhere, with people who have a plan, which is how the Mark Zuckerbergs of the world get money.
exactly.
You start the thing, and then once the ball's rolling, you're like, okay, this is what it is. This is what it is doing. Because people don't want to hear about what it can do. They actually want to see it in motion. If we had to start that, I guarantee you, because this is the one thing about social media and what it's doing for marketing. It's a confusing place because it's so fractured
Mm,
that marketers don't know how to reach people.
mm,
And I've got to read. I'm not going to say it here, of course, but I've got a really simple way of how they could do it, but they're not quite at the point where it makes sense to them.
mm,
Partly because they're a bunch of older folk
mm.
who need people. They actually need to be in front of people, and this thing here is hard to figure out because the social media domain, especially the TikToks and the Instagrams, is where the younger folk play.
Yeah,
And boy, do they play! They live there,
yeah.
right? So how do you reach them? So marketers are looking for ways to reach them. If you have a platform or a channel or an entertainment channel that's got a proper name, and it's done as if a TV broadcast, then advertisers will say, please, 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 can we be on your show? We'll take a slot. How much is it? Boof. And then we'll say, well, we have about 1 million viewers that tune in every week, so it's going to cost you $1 million. R1 per viewer. That's pretty cheap. Think about it. That's nothing. It's costing you R1 to reach 1 million people. Imagine what we could do with that. And I don't think anyone, not in South Africa anyways, is doing that. Man, I often hear people saying, "Oh, but there's no money." Bullshit. There is money. We just have not tapped into it.
Show me the money.
There is money. Show me the money. No, but truly though, if you look at cars, now last year was a bonanza. For the wealthy, it was a bonanza. I think they increased their wealth by like 2 trillion is the figure that people, and I'm like, what? Say that again?
Yeah.
And people actually, there were people who went backwards, and people who were like, well, I can buy everything at a discount, right? So it's not that there's no money, it's just people are worried about where they want to spend it. But in terms of marketing a product, you always need to market a product.
Yeah.
If Coke stopped advertising Coke tomorrow, we'd forget about it. And we would buy Pepsi, which is why they keep shoving it down your throat. Ad after ad after ad. So if we did that, it would be really easy to do. And we say, okay, we're going to do this show. It's got so many episodes, blah, blah, blah. And it's going to literally run forever because we can do whatever we want on it. How much are you prepared to pay? And we charge per second as they do on TV. Now, can you imagine what we could do with money like that?
Sounds very exciting and tempting. We'll chat.
Come on, you gotta strike while the iron's hot, man.
I think it can be done if you like you said, if you tap into, YouTube's very easy to get something started on. You just need a streaming mechanism, which there's hundreds of, to be able to stream to different platforms at the same time, which is not impossible. The one thing that I would need to maybe research a bit about or find out about is how do we get the audience to go beyond just a live chat with text and actually see their faces and reaction and hear them. That would be the key. That would be.
But would that be like a Zoom call then?
I have no idea. It could be. I would imagine so, because that's the only tech that I'm aware of that allows that. Because I've been a part of one online show. A friend of mine was doing it and asked me to be a part of it, where it was a private Zoom call, and people who paid could enter the Zoom call, and we could hear them and they could hear us, and they were watching the performance. So I think it was maybe Zoom. But yeah, I mean, a bit of research, and then we'll see what we can do, I guess.
I like that. Because look, once we utter these words, it's already happening. I mean, once you know what I'm saying? Once you speak the words, it's already in motion. And I'm quick. I'm like, what? Like that idea? Let's do it. Go. Boom. Register the domain. Boom, 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 boom. That's. I literally. And I drive my wife mad because she's like, really? Can you just like slow down? I'm like, no. What if someone else does it? Tomorrow morning you wake up, someone's told it. Yeah, I'm a little bit wacky that way.
Yeah, someone's probably already working on it. No, I'm kidding. No, well,
they're not.
I think also.
And if they are, we don't want to be a part of it, because as soon as we give up control as creatives and artists, it's no longer ours. Then we're working for someone.
Yeah, no, that's very true.
And then again, you're just getting paid a salary as and when they need you. We want to own it. And then we want to say, right, guys, I don't know, 10, 20, 30 people, whatever, where this is the split. This is how we're going to make money. This is how we're going to pay everyone, and this is how we're going to grow it so that it's our thing. And for however long it's successful, people get paid. What they do with their money is their problem. Hopefully they'll invest it or whatever. But I think it can work. I really think that there's this, especially the new generation, they don't watch TV. They're in bed with their phones.
Netflix,
So
yeah.
there will come a time where the SABCs have no more viewers. It's largely the older folk who still tune in for Chuck Norris, but there'll come a point where even those viewers have died out.
Well, there's a House of Pixels saying, "Welcome to the 5D grid, Brendan. Wee, let's go."
Oh yes, I like.
5D
No,
grid.
that's exactly where we are, and the thing is, not everyone's going to get there. It's those who are seeking answers, who find their path quicker than those who are just content to row their boat in
Mm,
circles.
yeah.
Uh, and it's as soon as you start asking those questions, then the answers come. And if not the answers, then the people that can lead you to those answers.
Mm,
And I've met a whole bunch of people. Um, I'm a bit of an oddball. People don't often get to see it because you can't always show every little thing about you. You like phase it in as you go along throughout your career. But my brain is lightning fast, and it often looks like ADHD. So I have to control it. Otherwise, it just and it just finds stuff and it references and it brings it, and then packages it in book. There you go, like a computer that you just send out to do stuff and then it quickly brings it to you.
yeah.
And and it's taken me a long time to like find people who are exactly like that or similar
Mm,
to that same sense of curiosity and the need to know. And people always say that what's that thing about knowing too much. I don't think I can. Also, being a Gemini, I just have this. I just want to know stuff. I always just want to know stuff, and it sometimes takes me down roads. I'm like, oh, how did I get over here? But hey, that looks cool. Let's see. Ooh. Sometimes you find things that gross you out, or things that shock you to your core, or things that you're like, God, is this a conspiracy theory? I don't know. But then let me see it again, and it looks so real. And there's so many. The world is such a big, beautiful, and often scary place all at the same time.
yeah.
We live
That's
in
very true.
in like these polar opposites of each other. It's the most peculiar thing. And you have beautiful sunshine, and then you have dark, stormy, lightning clouds on the other, and you kind of have to have both, even if we don't like it. Even if and one day, that's going to be like the first thing I'm going to ask God. So okay, I've got a whole lot of questions. Would you mind to just, okay, I know there's a queue of people, but please just this one, and then I don't know. I'll have so many questions. I just want to know stuff. And if you're as curious as I am, and my boys are, they always find stuff, and they're like, "Ooh, Dad's going to find this interesting," like the most oddball things. Then so I have about 2,500 books.
Wow.
Um, yeah, of all sorts. And I just need to know about everything, about sales and public speaking, and then it's like oddball books about science stuff, and it's just because life's so short. How much can I cram in the time that I have left? And can you imagine if I lived to be 90?
You'd
Wow,
be very
that'd
wise.
be that's
I think you'd be very
I don't
wise.
know about wise. I'd just be well read, but I don't know if wisdom comes with that. I think wisdom comes from burning your fingers a lot, and I
Yeah,
eventually
that's
like
also true.
I think we become wise from all those mistakes we make. I don't think they're mistakes at all. I think it's just a correction. So life's been beautiful. Yeah, geez, I've been singing since forever. Sometimes I don't feel like singing. It's one of those things. It's singing for me is it's a mood thing. People are like,
Mm,
"Gee, do you always sing at home?" I'm like, no. Some days I just don't open my mouth at all to sing. To talk, yes. I don't not always to sing. Sometimes I internalize it.
mm.
And all of last year, which seems like to me feels like it never happened. It's like
Yeah, I
like
know it's weird.
was there a last year? It is weird. and nothing happened, nothing creatively. And now slowly but surely I've started to take out the stuff again, get the books out, start to write, and still I can't. I mean, I listen to it, stuff that I've written for new albums I'm still to release. And then I think, okay, but now the time that you wrote it, you were in a different space entirely. And that's the thing about
Mm,
music. When you write or compose it, you have to release it then.
mm,
Because how you feel and the vibrations you pick up from people around you, the music suits that time.
yeah.
So 2, 3 years later, it's changed completely. So the songs that you write, and that's why I said we we write songs about this time. And no songwriters want to write about now. We don't want to wallow in this.
Mm,
We need rainbows, man. We need something that can excite people again. I think people have gone into a state of depression. I mean,
mm,
largely just the thinking is down, the energy levels are down. People don't even really want to crack jokes anymore. So we brought out all the old comedy DVDs so we can just laugh. We try to have a good laugh at home, watch some maybe music stuff as well. And I think being together as a family, that's
yes.
been one good thing about COVID for a lot of people. It's we've always been a close family. I mean, we always do the eating together thing, at supper time. And I think COVID did even more of it for us.
Mm,
And we're even tighter. And it's with two, nearly both of them teenagers. One's 15, the other one's 12, hot on the heels. So it's important for parents to be in their kids' lives.
yeah. No,
I know my,
absolutely.
my, my boys are like, Dad, you want to know everything. What is wrong with you? What kind of father are you? And I'm like, give me that phone. Oh, who is this? I'm
I
like,
don't blame you.
oh,
No,
I
I
should
don't.
have deleted that.
I don't blame you, man. No, when it comes to parenting and tech, I
Uh,
think parents should know what their kids
there you are.
are. This, I'll put it this way: there's no such thing as privacy for the child as long as they're living under your roof. If it's under your
Ooh,
roof,
you said that sounds like something your mother would have told you.
my father.
Hmm. Or was it your dad? Because I was like, that's like what my mother, both my parents, but my mother especially. While you live under this roof, and of course, when I had my own roof, then I could say, well, this is my roof now. I can
Yeah.
do what I want. you know. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was sweet revenge there.
No, but
Yeah.
it's
No, but it's
it's
good
true.
because you see, there are too many. There are too many predators out there,
Yes.
and they hide behind the fake profile that they can create.
Oh yeah.
And I knew a boy who someone had approached him at the time. He was about 14, 15, and he never had girlfriends. So one day he showed me his phone. And he said, "Hey, Brandon, look at this. This girl wants me to meet her at the mall." And I said, "Who is this girl?" "No, no, we've been chatting online." I said to him, "No, I don't think that's legit,
Mm.
because why would she just want to meet you? Some chick you've never met." I said, "Don't do it. It could be a pedophile." And he was an innocent little boy. He didn't know anything about anything like that. And he just thought, "Oh, but there's this cute girl that wants to meet me." I said, mm-mm. Let's not. We don't do it like that, right? Unless she invites you to her house where her parents are, and your folks take you there. And
And then still your parents
thankfully,
have a phone call before that happens. Like you call each other like, oh,
and if you're anything like me, I don't just drop off. I get out.
yep,
I walk inside. I want to see
yeah, yeah, yeah.
who's the dad. My boys are like, "Oh, Dad's gonna go inside again." Okay, here he goes. And so I'm that dad. I'm not a drop and go kind of guy. I'm the
Yeah.
I'm the guy that needs to go inside. But they understand why. Because if you drop off and you don't know who and where, you
Yeah,
get
it's
back there, your
dangerous.
kid's gone. You don't know where your kid went. You have to, you, like I said, the world is a really good place, but the world's also a really dark and cruel place, and things like that happen.
Unfortunately, I mean, it's not like, 30, I mean, when I was growing up, like 30 years ago or whatever, like, it was kind of normal to take my bicycle down the street and play and be with my friends in whatever field not too far away from home.
Yeah,
Not a problem, walk down the street to my neighbor, have a, like, play with the kid or whatever. And, well, at the time, childhood friends played together or whatever. But
yeah,
now,
yeah.
now I wouldn't trust. And it's not just South Africa. I'm talking about like anywhere in the world. I wouldn't trust my kid, if I had one, walking to school. I would have to every day take it to school. I see
Yeah.
today South African children still walk to school and stuff. I imagine they're very close to it. But even that, like when I see it,
Mm.
I'm like, ah, man, like one day, you never know, eh? Like one day is one day. And it
Yeah.
really does make me nervous, and it does annoy me though, because I would love, if I had kids, to experience what I experienced, where you can go out and play and have no worries and stuff like that. It does suck, I think, to some degree, to be that parent and worry about, oh crap, who is my kid chatting to in a chat room, who's this person that's trying to become a friend, of when they play games online,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's very, and some people might think we're overreacting here, but I don't think people realize how dangerous this world can be, because for a predator, the technology has become so easy for them to
Mm.
manipulate and get into your child's life. Now, obviously, there are precautions that a parent can take. I know about some apps and stuff like that that parents can
Mm.
get on the phone or wherever and protect their child as much as possible. But there are some cracks sometime in the system, and yeah, man, I don't blame you at all for. I'd be just as protective, if not more. To be honest, yeah, I wouldn't trust.
And we don't want to be paranoid about it, you know. But you do want to be aware of what's going on. I mean,
You
child
have to be,
trafficking
yeah,
and even just human trafficking
dude.
across the board is a
Right,
thing. We
today,
don't get to hear about it,
yeah. No,
but
but no, no, no.
it
But
is a
here's the
thing.
thing, Brendan. So, like, just now, before we went on air, Herman Mashaba, okay, you know
Yeah.
who Herman Mashaba is. He is the president of, for those who don't know, Action SA, okay, put out a tweet, okay, saying, with Johannesburg CBD trending, let me remind South Africans. When I started as mayor, I was told that some buildings in the CBD are no go areas, places where, where was modern day slavery, human trafficking, prostitution was
Jeez.
going on. Suddenly, under ANC, inner city revitalization is non existent. These criminals are protected by politicians, and let me tell you, the day after I left, they were being protected by politicians once again. I
Hmm.
invited Herman to come onto my show, and he said yes to chat about this.
Fantastic. Yeah.
But there you go. If
Oh,
anybody thinks that Brendan or I are being too paranoid, I mean, there you go. A black and white today, not a year ago, 2 years ago, 10 years ago. Today tweeted that.
it's a lucrative industry, you know. People are valuable, and what what most people don't realize is that it happens literally under your nose.
Oh yeah,
It's the neighbor. You know, we don't we think we know people, but we don't know people. So often when a spouse is murdered, it's the husband or wife. It's literally the person that you had over to your braai, and you wave at every day and have a chat in the front. That's the person. That's the guy that's beating his wife.
mm,
You know, we just don't see those sides of people. So
no,
most people hide it really well.
a wolf in
But I
sheep's
think
clothing.
people, as exactly as much as possible. Now in South Africa, we have a rather unique. I think there are a few other countries who probably have similar scenarios, but kids walk for 5Ks to get to a school, sometimes more. There's the we our public transport is rapidly going down the drain. So kids can't go by train. Taxis are too full. Buses, they can't afford it, so they have to walk. Now, in between home and school, anything could happen.
Yeah.
And nobody knows where you were, at what time you were taken, if you get kidnapped. And it happens a lot. We just don't hear about it.
Mm.
We just don't hear about it. I think we've moved past the missing kid on the milk carton, those sorts of, that's very 80s, 90s kind of thing. And you'd be freaked out of your mind. For the next 2 days, your mother would keep you home.
Mm.
Or she'd take you to school, make sure you got, and then, a week later, then you'd be back to traveling by yourself again.
Yeah.
But it's really scary. As a parent, it's the scariest thing to not know where your kid is throughout the day.
No, I completely understand, and kudos to you for being that kind of parent. I'm sure your son or your kids are not happy that I'm saying that, but trust me.
No, they love it. They just love being mentioned. So if you just like, they're like, whoa, 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 whoa. Joe just spoke about me. That's okay.
No, I think look, I think like I know not a lot of people like this TV show, but Dr. Phil, often talks about predators out there that and people that come onto his show who share their story of what happened to them. It's some scary stuff, man. This one episode I watched the other day of a girl was same on in a chat room, convinced to meet this guy right outside the house.
Wow.
And she went, snuck outside, disappeared for 399 days, tortured, and horrible
Gee.
things happened to her as well. Treated like a dog. All these horrible things came out once because what happened is she was tech savvy, and the guy that captured her gave her like a reward system. So the more he like gained her or she gained his trust, he would give her things. So he gave her a phone, and he thought he had cracked the phone to where it can't have access to internet. But she was
Yeah.
a little bit more tech savvy and reset the phone and reset everything. So she was able to get internet, and she like contacted someone who then contacted the parents. They found her, boom, saved her. And when she came out and when they found her, she like released all this horrible
Shit.
things that this guy was doing to her. And I'm like, my wife and I often say, like, if we have kids, like, sorry, no social media till they're like 18, 19. I don't give a damn what people think. I really don't. I don't care. I really don't care. Social media, dude. Have you seen Social Dilemma? That they have statistics
Yes.
in that
Yeah.
documentary that teenage suicide increased since social media. Um, and if like okay, my wife does say like if they want social media, then it's like an hour a day. Like it's like playtime. You
Yeah.
can after dinner you can be on social media for like an hour, then put the iPad or whatever phone away. I'm okay with that one. And definitely like flipping, I will want to know the friends they have on their phone number or on their phones, who they're chatting to, if they're ever chatting to someone on the phone.
Yeah.
I want to speak to parents when they go for sleepovers, and like you said, go to the house, check it out, meet the parents
Oh,
at
yeah.
least. All these precautions, which sound outlandish to some people, and I'm like, but you see, if you're gonna be a parent that allows or doesn't think for a moment about the possibilities of what could go wrong. For example, you say to yourself, no, I want to trust my child. It's going to make the right decisions. And then one day, God forbid, it meets someone on social media and sneaks out of your house and disappears for 399 days. I don't want that to happen to anyone. I wouldn't want that to happen to anyone.
No.
And
No.
it's those stories that should make parents wake up and say, you know what? I don't give a damn what people think. This is my child. I want to raise my child the way I want to raise it. And I'm going to make sure that it's safe, because your job as a parent to make sure that your child is safe, because you're the first line of defense for that child. And call me
Exactly.
crazy, call me a helicopter parent or whatever. I would still let my child do whatever it wants to do in terms of like if it wants to be a skateboarder, I'll buy it a skateboard. If it wants to like go cheerleading, I will love that child with every ounce of my being. But I have to protect it, especially in today's
Yeah.
world where technology, while it has its benefits, at the same time it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah. It does. It's certainly opened up a rabbit hole that no one wants to go down.
Yeah.
But what I've also found, and this is a little bit of parenting advice for those who want to use it, don't use it. I've my approach was to be present.
Yeah.
And when I say present, I don't just mean kind of in the house. I mean present.
Yeah.
I mean to do stuff with your kids.
Yeah.
There are things that you can do outside of a phone. Look, you can't ever get kids away from technology. You
No.
can't keep them away from
It's
it.
too
It's part
integrated.
of their life. They are that generation, and this is where we are. We're all there. We all have a phone. We're
Mm.
all on it for more hours than we need to be.
Yeah.
Right? So kids just emulate that. Well, you're on your phone, so but there are times that you need to completely get away from it.
Mm.
And by being present, that is, who is that friend? Blah blah. You got to keep the channels of communication open. Now, the most difficult time in a kid's life when they don't need you
Mm.
is when they're teenagers. They pull away from you. The friends become the circle of trust there.
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't mean that when they pull away from you, you have to pull away from them.
Yeah.
See, that's one of the mistakes that parents make. Okay, he doesn't need me, so well, stuff him too. I just won't talk to him. He's moody today, so well, stuff him.
Mm.
They're going through stuff now. If I remember as a teenager, oh man, I was a horrible teenager.
So is
I
I.
was moody. Oh, jeez. But then I'd stay in my room and I'd read for hours and listen to music and whatever. But I just was grumpy. I was grumpy, and my son is not even half as grumpy as I'm, the oldest one. But he's a teenager and he's
Yeah.
going through stuff. Now you give them space, but there is also a time where you have to go into that space
Mm.
because they don't know how to come out of it. You have to go to them. And what happens is, that eventually you become, they're okay with it.
Mm.
That's just how my father is,
Mm.
and I can't change it. And cool, let's all live happily ever after. But
But
if you don't do that,
communication's also
it's
key.
it's everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also how you speak. You see, because immediately as parents we want to go straight to whoa. We want to go there
Mm.
because that's how we deal with things. We want to be bombastic about it.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest. I do go there sometimes. I do that. But it's the quieter word has the most impact.
Mm.
The quieter word is the one where everyone's calm. You're in that calm state where the advice that you want to give, because you don't want to admonish them. You're trying to get your kids to learn.
Mm.
So it's not the scolding you want them to remember, it's the lesson that you want them to remember.
Mm.
And that they can, if your parents scold you, you want to have nothing. You don't want to hear
Yeah.
what they have to say
Yeah.
because they're scolding and now they must just leave and you hate their guts and you wish you weren't born. Blah, 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 blah. But when you speak quietly, now it confuses them because they're not shouting at me, so they're not upset with me. Let me listen to what they have to say.
Mm.
And that's the point. There's a lot of psychology in it, and I think as parents we should probably go for workshops and stuff. We could definitely do a whole lot better. I know you don't have kids yet, so I'm just throwing some of this stuff out at you. You can just like keep it in your little portfolio.
No, I think my dad, he was like that. He hated shouting. He never.
Yeah.
I think maybe 3 times in my life that he ever really shouted at me.
Wow.
And the worst thing, I was definitely more scared of my dad than I was of my mother. But the worst thing is twice it happened in my life where my dad just looked at me and very calmly said, "You disappointed me," and walks away. And I'm
Oof.
crushed,
Exactly.
so
It hits
crushing.
you. Yes.
Oh man,
Yeah.
cry and like,
Mm.
it was the worst. It was the worst. I'd rather
Exactly.
get a hiding than hear that from my
Yeah.
father. And yeah, like I said, it was like only 2 or 3 times in my life when he said that, and I knew I hurt his feelings. I knew I betrayed his
Yeah.
trust.
Mm.
And that for me was like I hated it. I hated it. Ugh. But yeah, like I think excellent parent advice, and I will definitely keep it in mind for maybe one day when I have little ones of my own. It won't be
Yeah.
anytime soon though. Um,
Come on, Joe. How old are you now, Joe?
30, turning 33 this year, I believe, or
Perfect.
32.
That you should now start to get some baby books,
Oh boy, you
and
sound like my
at
mother
least
now.
start looking at names.
You
And
sound like my mother
but come
now.
on, mothers want grandkids.
Oh man. Well, Brendan, I'm sorry, but I gotta cut you off now, and we gotta end this. It's been an hour and 45 minutes, dude.
Gosh,
I'm
I
so
feel like I don't even
sorry.
feel like we've touched on we chatted just sort of on the surface about things. You know,
Dude, I will more than happily have you back. Anytime. I think this is, I think, the longest interview I've done on this channel, one on one with someone. Um,
yeah.
which is nothing wrong with that. I think it was a very, again, one of my favorite discussions to have with someone. I think we touched on a lot of things, and I
Mm.
I do eventually have to get to bed. So that's the only reason why I'm cutting off now.
Come on, I'm in Canada. You're in South Africa. It's morning. Yes, that's right.
But I mean, dude, you are an interesting cat, and thank you once again for coming onto the show. And
Oh, you're
again, dude,
welcome.
any time, man. Like seriously, you say, hey Joe, I want get some crap off of my chest. Just
Cool. Let's do it.
hit me up,
Yeah,
and let's have another awesome chat like this. Would greatly
absolutely.
appreciate it. So yeah, and if I'm ever in Joburg, I'll definitely also get in touch with you and hopefully have make some uh,
Do that, buddy.
meet for some
Let's
coffee.
do it. Thanks. Absolutely. I can't offer you anything stronger. I don't know. Another. Let's see. Let's see how, if we go back up, down a level.
Yeah,
I never
yeah,
know where we are.
yeah. Is there anything
Yeah,
you want to
man.
say to people as we sign off? Like, tell people where they can find you. And by the way, I have linked your Twitter profile in the description if people want to follow you on
Thanks,
Twitter.
buddy. Thank you.
But you can let people know how else they can reach you or talk to
So
you.
so I love the immediacy of Twitter. I don't spend as much time on Instagram anymore. It's like Facebook. I hardly ever go onto Facebook.
Mm.
I do have accounts on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So any one of those places would be a good place to chat. And I'm in a really chat. I don't mind people sending me stuff, telling me their thoughts. I want to chat. I just even if it's something that they want to get off their chests. And I'm sure after this chat we had, there'll be quite a few people saying, "Ooh, I can't believe you said that, Trump. You actually had something good to say about Trump." Of course I do. But but we'll do this again, man. Thank you.
Yeah, I would
I
love
had
to.
fun. I had fun.
You're
Yeah,
welcome anytime. Seriously,
it's great.
there's no again, just send me a message. Hey Joe, I want to come on your show. I'll give you a date and we'll make it happen. There's no like restrictions or anything
Cool.
like that.
Thank you.
So yeah,
Perfect.
ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for all of you that tuned in and were watching. Riddell, thank you so much. Anna Marie, House of Pixie, or Mariska, Proudly Neanderthal was here. Deborah Oliver was here. Adam October, I don't know if you're still watching, but thank you so much for tuning in. And Clote. Okay. There's some interesting names on YouTube. But thank you all so much for tuning
No,
in.
that's my other son with his that's his gaming name. So yeah,
Oh, okay. Thank you all so much for tuning in. And yeah, I will be back tomorrow evening where I'll be roasting some headlines with some fellow comedians. It's always a lot of fun. So please tune into that tomorrow evening at 9 p.m. But if I don't see you there, stay safe, be kind to one another, and I'll see you at the next one. Cheers.